I retired as a professor of surgery at the University of Benin, 2023 November. Now, ordinarily, this lecture should be delivered by a physician. That is, those who treat high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, chronic illnesses, not by a surgeon. So, but the sentiment that it should be delivered by an old boy is why I'm delivering it. I also believe that if the 81 set had a doctor amongst you, you would have preferred that your classmate deliver the lecture. And I was a bit curious that 10 years, 11 years after we left St. John's in 1970, your set does not have a medical doctor. In that wise, I think we have done better than you. My set has done better than you. Let's watch. We shall see soon. We not only you not only didn't do well, you didn't follow in the footsteps that we laid for you. In 1970, my set was the first to take physics in WAEC. Before then, ministry and white people had come to inspect the lab. And as you know of those Marianists, it was purely on merit. They will not pet you, they will not bribe you. So every year they will inspect the lab, a lab that was so rich, and they will say we are not qualified. But in 1970, we took the bold step and risk, and we put in for physics, and we did physics, chemistry, biology, and the science subjects. And we excelled. And my set, 26 students, we produced 4 doctors. Good. Show me your 4 sons and your 4 engineers. Oh, very sad. I know there's no how. Yes, there's no how you won't have produced a doctor. There's no how you won't have produced a doctor.
He was a pharmacist. Finished from.
He was a pharmacist.
Yes. It's okay. So we produced Dr. Nelson Idogo, yes. Anthony Bologi, Brigadier General in the Army, in the Air Force, and Ferdinand Bremer, still in the United States, and my humble self.
Very good.
You see, I said because St. John's College, we were very privileged. That is, from beginning till your set and beyond, we had very sound foundation in science. And the clamor then across the country, in fact, people came from the federal and state ministries to talk to us that the future greatness of this nation is tied to science and technology. So naturally, we drifted towards the sciences. And then, of course, the Marianists, they brought films and documentaries of a landing on the moon in 1968. We saw it. We were marveled. We wanted to be like them, like the Americans. So many in our sets and research followed in science. And so that is why. And I thought that, but I know after that we produced many more doctors. Now the topic for today, as I said, is very apt, especially at this stage of your careers and life, 60 and going forward. And as I mentioned earlier, what you're doing now is one of the prescriptions that we'll see towards the end of this talk. Now, this lecture, we've made the introductory remarks. I'm going to mention the physical changes with aging, then the common health challenges, and then the strategies for physical health, mental health, then the common chronic conditions, and then staying engaged and being purposeful as remedies and strategies to be in good health. Now, there's a Chinese adage that says, the brighter the candle, the quicker it burns. The brighter the candle, the quicker it burns. That will presuppose that those who are brilliant, exceptional in intellect, in achievement, in charisma, may burn out soon. But the essence is that if you are so blessed, then you must take measures to guard against this. It doesn't mean you should not aspire to be a brilliant surgeon or a brilliant architect or engineer. But you will know that such brilliance, such charisma, such phenomenal achievements attract it's at a cost. It's at some cost. Cost in terms of high expectations of you. Like people are told, when you get a first-class degree, you are challenged for life. When you come out of university with a first-class degree and a PhD, it's a challenge for life. Just now, Senior Prophet and I were talking about, and we straight mentioned Jonathan. And I said, look, one of the disappointments is that he was measured against the background that he has a PhD. When you have a first-class degree, anything you do, that man is supposed to be first class. Anything you say, they say, that man had a first-class degree. So that you have expectations of you are high. You strive to meet those expectations. Achievements, success, charisma, in a short while also attracts criticisms. Sometimes and commonly attracts envy. If sometimes even hatred. And people not wanting to, not appreciating your visibility or despising your visibility. But measures can be taken to curtail this so that you will be in good health far into your life. Now, basically, this is comparing a 75-year-old and a 30-year-old. When you are 75, your brain size shrinks to 92%. As we get older, our brain within the calvarium, that is within this skull, shrinks. But the bone does not shrink. So the brain gets smaller. What we call basic metabolism. Basic metabolism is the conversion of all that we eat into energy and building the body. All the carbohydrates that we eat, eba, rice, yam, is converted to glucose. All the meat, fish, beans we eat is converted to amino acids, elements. All the fats, everything that we eat is converted to lipids. These are the ones that enter the body. And as I said, the glucose is turned to energy for us to carry on our activities. The proteins is for body building and maintenance. So that process, that metabolism reduces by 84% when you are 75. So there's a gradual reduction from the age of 55 as you go down. Similarly, our kidney filtration, the kidney filters the blood and removes impurities that comes out as urine. That filtration process decreases with age. It must decrease with age. By the time you are 75, your kidney function, even in the best of health, is about 70%. And then, of course, hardest hit is our breathing capacity. The breathing capacity. our ability to take in air and breathe it out. In the process that is inside our lungs, the oxygen is extracted and carbon dioxide is released into it, and they are common. That process decreases by about 43% by the age of 75. So these are processes that go on in our bodies as we age. Now, the physical changes we show, most especially on the face, because the face has a lot of changes. The same face you used to smile is the one you used to laugh, frown, express disappointment, anger, rage, surprise. All are recorded on our faces. You all know it. You can look at somebody and say, why are you looking surprised? Why are you enraged? Because you can see it in the face, the construction of the face. So you can imagine the muscles that do that over the years. As you get older, they start to have like a permanent imprint. Even me, a doctor and a surgeon, I didn't realize that these lines on my forehead are frown lines. They call them frown lines. It's the social media that taught me that. And I said, but do I frown that much? And my wife said, you don't know. So somebody has told me, a physiotherapist and an exercise physiologist has told me what to do, the exercise I can do to eliminate the lines. But I don't have the energy. The few times I've tried, there's no difference. I even thought it was getting worse. But I didn't realize it, that these lines across the forehead are called frown lines. Frowning your face. They call it frown lines. That's what social media calls it. But I don't know whether it's like that or whether I was born like that. But they've been there for so long, and I don't think it's possible to remove them. But it just shows you that they will tell you that it takes fewer muscles to smile and many more muscles to frown. So they advocate that you smile and that you laugh more than frown and get angry. Generally, if you remember some of your seniors in school, if you notice this, when you are in Form 1, if you knew people who were in Form 5, later in life, when you see them, you tend to think that they have decreased in size. I don't know whether you have observed it. Well, you have grown, of course. The younger person has grown. But the older person also has diminished in size, both in bulk and sometimes in height. Our height is mainly due to the vertebral bones and the long bones. And bone diminution, bone density loss can result in loss of height. Between the vertebral bones, the one they call the vertebral bones, you have what they call intervertebral disc. Those discs are not bones. They are fiber and tendons. They too collapse after the age of 60 and 65. And so you won't be surprised. You may see somebody that you have known before. When you come, you see that person is now looking smaller and shorter than when you knew the person. So basically by the time you are 90, you see the person is looking very small. So as we age, you are no longer the person that you used to be. I don't know whether it applies in law, that when somebody commits a crime at 25 and is not arrested, if he's arrested at 55, I think they said there has to be an argument that it's not the same person. The person that committed that crime has been transformed into another person. So basically, there is decreased muscle mass and strength. No matter how your biceps and your chest muscles, your breast muscles are big, and your thighs as you get older, if you don't engage in physical activity, they will start to grow. They'll start to deplete. There's what you call atrophy, especially disuse atrophy. As we atrophy. Yes. As we get older, there's what they call bed sores, but that comes in the extreme of immobility. That is lying in one place without physical activity. It mainly happens to older people who are in hospital beds, who are confined to bed, either in hospital or at home. If it's at home, you must engage a domestic staff to turn the persons from side to side. Scientifically, if your thigh or your leg remains in one place for 2 hours without any movement, the blood to the skin of that area where you are putting on the bed becomes impaired, and a sore can arise. Unknown to all of us, we move continuously even when we are asleep. But there are medical conditions, and there are some age that you attain that you don't move. And if that happens, you find that the person will now have sores at the back here, where the hip bones are on the bed, and on the heels, where the heel is on the bed, that takes the pressure. So that is because the blood supply is impaired on account of aging, and then movement is impaired also on account of aging. Yes. As I've mentioned, reduced bone density as we age. Then vision and hearing impairment comes with age. Yes. So as you go older, if you look into your ears, even the middle part, you see some fine hairs there. Yes. Those hairs are very sensitive. They are the ones that receive the sounds that I'm making now. As you get older, they get depleted. So that picking up of vibrations from sound becomes impaired. It will deplete to the extent. Yes, we pray for length of years and decree it by the Holy Spirit. We should also pray for good health. I think you should pray for length of years in perfect health of mind and body. Yes, it's not just the length of years. We must rise to the challenges of maintaining our health. So vision, both and hearing are impaired. I've mentioned slower metabolism as we get older. And then there is less, as you get older, the fat under the skin becomes less. The fat under the skin becomes less. So the insulation from cold becomes less. So older people have to wear warmer clothes. They have to wear warmer clothes and stay in warm places. This month of August and September up to now, it was predicted that the earth will be furthest away from the sun. That's why August and September have been very cold. Yes, the earth has been furthest away from the sun by the revolution. But I think it's getting better now. So everybody was told to prepare. We in the medical community prepared for that because there will be less insulation for older people. Other changes that you will see, like as people get older, their nails, fingernails, toenails become more thickened. They become more difficult for the old person to cut, to pare. So they trim. So they may need somebody to help them trim. At the same time, their vision is getting impaired. So they can't see the nails. They can't even use razor blades. And if they use razor blade and cut their fingers, if they have sugar issues, problems start to arise. Because if you have a wound with diabetes, it becomes worse. There is generalized loss of body hair and head hair as we get older. And that is very obvious to everybody. And graying. There are even our sweat glands, where we sweat from, they become depleted as we get older. There is another gland in the skin called sebaceous gland. That is the gland that produces the oil. You see, no matter where, even if you're in an air-conditioned room all day, you leave your home, you wash your face, you towel it, you may even powder it, but by 2 p.m. you see your face glowing with oil because there's a sebaceous gland in the skin that produces oil that lubricates our body. Now, as you get older, the opening may get blocked. Opening gets blocked, and the secretions swell behind the blockage, and they now form bumps on face and on the skin. When you see them, you just, oh, this man is old. But it's because maybe he has not been washing his body regularly, and therefore the secretions have now blocked the opening. All this come with aging. If you're unlucky, those bumps can get infected and leads to sepsis and infection. So there is reduced brain mass, there is impaired hearing, there is impaired vision. Cataract, that is opacity of a lens. You know, in the eye you have a lens, and it can become opaque. It can become opaque with aging, and therefore impairs vision. But luckily these days, there are very good operations to replace the lens, to take it out and replace it. Hearing loss, frailty, imbalance. As you get older, if we don't engage in physical activity, you start to lose your balance. You get up and you trip over little things that you should have easily put your feet over. So that also comes with aging. Now, constipation, as you get older, if you move your bowel once or twice a day, you will now find out that it will decrease to once a day, to once on alternate days, and even get worse than that, because the motility of a bowel is reducing. A bit of biology, you know that there's what we call peristalsis. That's the movement of the bowel. The bowel moves and propels its contents continuously towards the anus. So that in an African diet, it takes like 36 hours from the food we eat to come from mouth to anus. But as you get older, that slows down. As it slows down, more fluid is absorbed from the contents, and the stools become harder, stronger. You need more force to push them out. As you get older, you don't have that force. So the solution is to take high fiber diet. High fiber diet. A lot of fibrous, all our foods basically are fiber, eba, yam. They're all fiber. But in addition, we must take a lot of vegetable and fruits with our foods as we get older, so that our diet has high fiber and moves easily, and then you don't take any effort to evacuate it from the rectum. You will notice that as you get older, as people get older, 70, 75, 80, 85, they try to eat less in a day. Basically, their energy requirements are depleted, but they also have lost a lot of taste buds. Taste buds that make food appetizing. They deplete with aging. So you must make effort to eat. Older people must make effort to eat whether they like it or not. Recently, there have been campaigns for people to drink plenty of water, especially old people too. Their sense of thirst is also impaired. Our sense of thirst is impaired as we get older. A young person will feel thirsty and look for a drink. An old person will not feel that sense of thirst. So it becomes an obligation for an old person, whether it's thirsty or not, to drink like 4 of these. This is 750 cl, this one. You need at least 3 liters to maintain hydration. Every adult needs at least 3 liters. Taller ones like this will need 4 liters. Then depending on your activities, your physical activities. So, but the old people will not, their sense of taste is impaired. So they must drink water by habit, not wish to be thirsty, because they may not have that sense of taste. Taste buds are reduced, liver size is reduced, and then the sphincters is where we control urine and feces. Sphincters are like valves. There's anal sphincter. The sphincter in the anus that makes it possible for us to defer urine or convenience. If I'm pressed to pass urine now, well, not me because I'm 71. If I'm pressed to pass urine, most times I must get up to go and pass the urine. Most 70-year-olds must get up to go and pass the urine. They can't hold it. If they attempt to hold it, they will wet themselves. Similarly, 80, 85, 95, the anal sphincter also is getting loose, is getting weaker. So its ability to defer and say, oh, I'm in a lecture. When I get home, I'll go and use the restroom, maybe impaired. So they start looking for where to go. So they must be mindful of that. They must be mindful of that. That's why you see, you go for a convocation ceremony, your child's convocation ceremony. You are seated there, and they are calling names and names and names. You want to see your child, and you drank water. In another 2 hours, your bladder is full. You can't pass urine. You try to hold it. When you leave there, the urine does not come out again. Then they have to rush you to hospital to pass a tube for you. So all these ones come with aging. Hey, this thing has gone to sleep again. Sorry.
Oh, you just keep touching it.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, we're almost through. I think so, yes. It's fully charged. Well, other physical changes are with specific organs. For example, we're all aware from the basic biology that our heart has valves. Our heart has chambers, 4 chambers. There's what they call atrium and ventricles, 2 atria and 2 ventricles, left and right. And in between them, they have valves. The valves open and blood go in. They open and blood comes out. So those movements are continuous for life. As we're all sitting here now, our hearts have been beating since we were born. No break, no rest. Now, those valves in the heart can become thickened. They become thickened as we get older. They become thickened and stiff. And those are some of the reasons where so the heart muscle now has to increase in size to push out the blood into the body. That increase in size of the heart is called hypertrophy. And after it has done that endlessly, it may reach an end stage, and the person will now have heart failure. The blood vessels also, I'm sure you've heard about cholesterol and things that are deposited in the blood vessels. You know, they are like the old water pipe